When a vineyard owner breaks her one rule, don't answer the front door, she winds up with a dead body and a heap of trouble. The first in a Cypress Grove mystery series, One Foot in the Grape, introduces us to wine, sabotage, and murder. And today we're lucky enough to chat with the author, Carlene O'Neil. Welcome to Blackbird Writers Presents Author Interviews. I'm Sharon Lynn, and welcome, Carlene.
Hi, Sharon. Thanks so much for having me.
So glad you could be here. I so enjoyed reading your the first installment to the series, and I'm looking forward to jumping into the next ones as well. So tell us about Cypress Grove. It's set in California, Monterey Valley. What was your inspiration for that particular locale?
Cypress Cove is clearly based on Carmel, California, which, if you've ever been there, is a fairy tale cottage town, which clearly nothing bad could ever happen in. So it's also ultimately where I would like to live. So before I picked the setting, I really decided that that's, my goal is to be in Carmel or Monterey. That whole area, the Monterey Peninsula, is just so beautiful. And again, I love having murders set in a town where clearly, it's not equipped socially to have a body there. Nothing bad can happen in Carmel or Cypress Cove.
Yeah, absolutely. I was lucky enough to visit there when I was in middle school. Me and my mom just took a trip, and it's like everywhere I turned, I was like, oh, look at that, look at that.
Yes, exactly. You expect fairies to be the residents, just
exactly.
Everything's sweet and angelic.
And in Cypress Grove, it's the same thing. It's like, oh, I would like to be in that town right now. So you do a wonderful job creating that special feeling of the place.
Thank you. Yeah, it's fun.
So we have Joyeux as our winery. Am I saying that right?
Joyeux, but that's fine. It means joyful in French. So it really actually was my great-grandparents' original name when they came over from France and they got to Ellis Island, and they actually renamed them to Joyeux. Joyeux, it means lively. So they ended up with the last name Lively when they came through. So.
Oh, interesting. So it's a smaller winery, but it produces 5 different varieties. Can you talk a little bit about why you chose to do that and the geography of the area that led to that decision?
Yes, a lot of people assume that there's like one type of grape you can grow in any given area, but typically large plots of land that become vineyards have more than one. It's called terroir. It's terroir is the soil, the sun, the available rain that is in that particular area, the fog from the coast. So grapes have different requirements. I mean, you want to almost starve, like for instance, a Zinfandel. You want very little water. You want rocky soil. You want the grapes to work. You need to have them actively working to survive to get a good Zin. But Pinot Noirs, on the other hand, they like their cool evenings. They like their sunny days. They're much more particular. So depending on what the lay of the land is, you can have more than one. And most wineries end up having more than one varietal growing there, depending on the weather conditions and the patterns in the soil.
Yeah, so their particular winery kind of starts at the coast and just goes straight.
Exactly. Yes. So the stuff along the coast would be the Pinots or something like that really like those calmer, cooler nights, And up going further in, you'll have maybe a Cabernet, which really will take as much heat as you can get it. So, as much as heat as you can get to them. So they love that hot weather.
Awesome. Yeah, it was really fun to read about.
Oh, good, thanks.
So your main character, Penny, Penelope, but she goes by Penny. She was a photojournalist in her former life.
Yeah.
Why did you choose that particular profession?
I picked it because I enjoy photography myself. I know something about it, but I also wanted to have her to have a background that would naturally fit her being nosy. her
Yeah.
being inquisitive, her, not having any barriers and, getting right in there. But what's funny about the camera that Penny realizes over time is that it's kind of become a buffer between her and the things she's seeing in the world that maybe she doesn't want to see anymore. So because she speaks out and won't do something, she's fired from her job, but she still has that inquisitive nature. She would never be in a career that wouldn't allow her to snoop or wouldn't allow her to dig. So she's going to be a reporter or a photojournalist or something, that type. And it's such it's such a beautiful area that it's easy to see somebody choosing to be there and being a photographer.
Yeah.
But it becomes a place of healing almost for her, but she still has that nature, where she wants to keep digging. So photojournalism was a good fit for her to come from.
Yeah, I've seen characters who are kind of journalists before, but I really liked the photojournalist take, especially since she has a good eye. She'll look at something, it's like, oh, I need to stop and take a picture of that. And it just paints this beautiful picture for the reader. We can see exactly what she's looking at. So yeah, because she's kind of like taking landscape shots now for postcards, which is probably a big change for her, but nobody's going to fight back on those.
Right, exactly. She doesn't realize too with her past, with her background, that she has some healing that she needs to do. There are things that these people see that they wish they could unsee. And she comes back because she loses her aunt, but also because I think she's tired. She's just tired. So it becomes a place of rejuvenation.
She was in San Francisco.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, and there can be a lot that goes on there that that you would want to unsee.
Right. Exactly.
So there is a character at a neighboring winery named Antonia, and she is very imposing and actually really fascinating. And I was wondering if that was based on any person that you knew that you would be willing to admit to on camera.
She's a blend, she's my grandmother who was very feisty and outspoken. She's my mom. She's just a character of somebody we all know, where they're just hard to know, but they have your best interest at heart, but she just doesn't have a filter, and she becomes an ally, where at one point, she remembers me being the kid running through her vineyards, getting in trouble, and I become this person that, she wants to partner with, and because she becomes an ally.
Yeah.
So I love writing about her. I love writing her verbiage. Her responses. She's fun. She doesn't have a filter. She's 80 plus, that she'll only admit to 70, and she's easy to write. She's easy to write.
Yeah, she actually did remind me a little bit of my grandmother as well, and I have one grandmother who was the one who baked cookies, and then I had the one that you actually called grandmother.
That's Antonia. Yes, that's
good. So I
really do that. Yes.
Took to her right away. All right, so there is a wine tasting festival that takes part, a big part of the book, preparing for it, being there, things happening there, tension there. And I'm wondering, have you ever been to a wine tasting festival? How many, if you have, what are they like? Just talk about that for a bit.
Yes, and I have, and it's a role with the wineries that's changed over the years. When I was growing up, I grew up in that area. I grew up in Sonoma County, just in Santa Rosa, so north of San Francisco. And when I was very young, there was no such thing as wine festivals or winery events. They were places you just didn't go to, other than to and you would only go there if you had to. And over the years, wineries have evolved into places where events, marriages and celebrations, birthdays, holiday, this is a place where you can go and in a beautiful setting, and has wine there. So how bad could that be, right? You have these events. So I have been to a number of them, but I can remember growing up where you wouldn't have heard of such a thing. And now doing weddings and hosting weddings in many wineries cases is the difference between being, very successful or just hanging on. So they've really changed the face of wineries in California and all over the country. It's also a product and a way of living that's gathered support and wines from many different areas. Like Oregon now has got some fabulous wines that are coming out, or Washington State, or across the country. And in these places, certainly having events like the wine festival are making a difference and keeping a lot of the smaller wineries open.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's kind of like when microbreweries first started just having a little tasting room out of their,
Yes,
loading
great
bay.
example. Yeah, great example. Yeah,
Yeah, and now they're just restaurants.
yes.
But yeah, that really would, you're driving through such beautiful country. It was always just, glancing over going, I wonder what it's like in there. And now you can actually go and see what it's like.
Yeah.
Very, very fun. All right. So you obviously you grew up in the area. You've been familiar with wine for a long time. So have you found a lot of like competition or wanting to sabotage other
Yes.
wineries, or is it more of a rising tide raises all boats kind of attitude?
Question. It really all depends. I find for the most part that they're very supportive of one another. If you are on the circuit, where you hit all of the wineries, you want all of them to do well. I would think that it's true that they all are benefiting from one another. Going out wine tasting, you'll hit 3 or 4 different wineries or more, and it becomes a collaborative effort for sure. And they will also loan each other equipment during harvest. They're in it for each other as well as, individually.
That's wonderful, and it also just makes for more fun writing in a cozy setting.
Yeah, yeah.
To know that it's like this is not a cutthroat thing. This is like, oh well, if I had nice neighbors, maybe I could do this.
Right. That's true. That's exactly how it feels.
That's wonderful. All right, so I did start with 1 foot in the grape, which love the pun. And there are currently 3 in the series.
Yeah.
And where are we going next with the series?
I am on book 4. I've finished it. I'm started my proofreading. It actually happened. It takes place in Monterey at the hotel that I use in all of the books as a setting for events. And so it's right on the water in Monterey. And it is it's a food competition, a chef competition, a celebrity chef cook-off. And it's called Murder Well Done. And it's a barbecue themed cook-off. So you've got the 5 chefs there, and you have the judges, and one of the participants in this ends up, not making it through the first night.
But well done.
Exactly.
Like picturing it already. And is Penny a character throughout the whole series?
Yes. Penny is wherever the series goes, Penny will be there. And she gets involved with this because they are featuring her wines at the cook-off. So, and she of course actually finds the body. She's very, very good she's not good with blood, she's not good with violence, but she's very good at finding bodies. Yeah, so she does here as well.
So just gonna kind of go off piste here for a moment. So when you like go to wineries and kind of like peek around, doors and things like that, do you let them know that you're going to, maybe drop a body somewhere?
I have, and they love it.
Oh,
I've
that's
had wineries, volunteer. I mean, I get the full tour in one of my books, there's a body in a vat, and they're more than happy to show me all the barrels, and it's they love it. They love the idea. So
That's so much fun. All right. So, and when will book 4 be out?
I am hoping that it will be out by the 1st of the year. So
Yeah.
that's my goal. That's my goal.
Excellent. And for our fans who have not met you before, where can they find you?
Sure. My email is carleneoneilmysteries@gmail.com. And my site is carleneoneil.com. And then also on Facebook, which is facebook.com/Carlene O'Neil author.
All righty. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. This was great. Really
This was,
appreciate it. Great
yeah,
fun.
it was really fun. All right. And thank you all for watching Blackbird Writers Presents Author Interviews.